Hello everyone on my channel. I know you instantly wanted to watch the video, but you should listen to this first. So before starting this video, I mentioned some important things. In this video I have shown you how I repaired my power inverter, which was badly damaged due to a short circuit. And short circuit happened when someone plugged a electrical device into the wiring of this power inverter. I will deal with very high voltages in this video. Friends, I have an idea of where are the high voltages and where are low voltages inside the inverter. Also, I have taken many safety precautions when I deal with electricity. I am a professional in electronic work and doing this since I was 8 years old. It's been about 18 years since I am doing projects on electronics. Now let me tell you clearly, electricity could kill you. In the inverter there are 400 volts which can harm or even kill anyone. These are twice the voltages which we use in our houses. So non-professionals, please don't try this at home. You should take the services of a professional. So friends, this is the inverter. Many of you are already familiar with this company and the model of this inverter. For those who did not know, so this is a modified sine wave inverter. A very famous Chinese company with the name Suoer is the manufacturer of this inverter. Its model number is SDB-1000A. It is a 1000 watt inverter. I purchased this for my personal use. It was working very well without any kind of problem. But one day anyone in my house plugged a bad faulty device into the extension socket of this inverter. That device plug was short from inside. So at once the device was plugged in, there was a blast in the inverter. And fire and smoke came out from the fan side of this inverter. After 4 to 5 seconds DC breakers tripped themselves. But in 4 to 5 seconds inverter was already damaged. This was the story of this inverter. I take this inverter to repair shop but no one knows how to repair this inverter. I was surprised by listening this from every serviceman. So I decided let me teach everyone how to repair this inverter. So you can see I disassembled this inverter and started to repair it. But before starting repairing I first identified the problem. As you know and understand, doing a short circuit to the inverter is the worst case. So first I check all the inverter to identify the main problem. This was a very lengthy process. So that's why I can't able to make the video of that process. But I tell you that process in simple words. First I open the inverter and pull the complete circuitry and PCB board from the chassis. Then I first identified the burning marks on the PCB. But friends, identifying the burning marks does not mean that the problem is only there. Other components can also be damaged without leaving any kind of traces. I am going to tell you the simplest way to repair this inverter. And remember, all the inverters have the same components and arrangement. You may find a change in the design of the PCB. But all things and components are the same. No matter what kind of company the inverter belongs to. So friends, I first checked the logical part of the inverter. Logical part is the part where SMD IC, SMD capacitors, and SMD resistors are in huge quantity. The simplest way to check that portion is to check the gate voltages of every FET and MOSFET. First remove all the MOSFET and FET from the inverter board and then apply the 12 volt DC to inverter. If the logical part of the inverter is not damaged, so it should give you 12 volt DC at every gate of the MOSFET and FET. Guys, to check the gate voltages you should use voltmeter. Put the black probe of voltmeter on the main negative supply of the inverter. Now put the red probe on every gate of FET and MOSFET one by one. Make sure you get reading of 12 volt on every gate input. Now I suggest you, if the logical part of any inverter is damaged, so do not waste your time on that inverter. Simply throw it into your store and buy a new one. Because logical part repairing is a very difficult process. I don't want to tell you that. It will cause you headaches and damage your brain cells. Now if the logical part of the inverter is good, so you can dance on your bed. Because it can easily be repairable. Now friend, in this picture you can get a lot of information. After I check all my inverter, I find the problem of my inverter. All things which I marked in this picture were damaged. So I removed those things and started the next process. After removing all damaged parts, I give 12 volts to the inverter. Then this sound fills my heart with happiness. The inverter starts, but currently it is not making 220 volts at the output side. Still there is a lot of work to be done in order to repair it perfectly. Currently there are 400 volts inside the inverter. So I have to be very careful. 400 volts of shock from this inverter could kill me. As you can see, I do one step and recheck the inverter, just making sure the last step I did is correct and working. This is a complex integrated circuit. One wrong move could damage the inverter more. These are the FETs. I will solder all 4 FETs one by one on the inverter. These are the FETs which are responsible to make 220 volt AC. These FETs are very common in electronic components. These FETs with the number of IRF740 are used in this inverter. Other types of inverter use different values of FETs in order to work properly. So friends, I am currently soldering the FETs. I see set of 4 FETs in every inverter. These are necessary for making the 220 volts AC. And that is the main thing that we get from any inverter to run our house appliances. But I see differences only in the sizes and values of FETs. In big inverters the size of FETs are big. Friends, I try my best to explain all the things about the project which I show you. But to be honest, in the current era of time, honest words are discouraged. Some unknown powers never want that you know about the reality. But I am trying my best to deliver you the truth. Now you can see I have done the FET soldering. After the solder I recheck that everything is properly soldered. With the help of a multimeter I check different things of just to make sure nothing is wrong. So friends, this is the close-up of the inverter. I show you a close look so you can clearly see everything. This close-up look allows you to properly understand everything which I have done on this inverter. Now friends, I am going to start this inverter. If everything is right, then this inverter should give 220 volts AC at its outlet. I first connected the 12-volt battery supply with the inverter. If you have seen properly, so you have observed, I separate a very thin piece of wire and join that with the input of this inverter. I always do this when I repair inverter or anything. I do this because in case of any uncertain shortage, this thin piece of wire will behave like a fuse. This thin piece of wire will instantly melt and break the connection. I found this trick very useful. First, I check the ampere consumption of the inverter on no load, or can be said on standby. I know it should be the same as mentioned in the user manual provided by the company. If that not match, then there is still something wrong with the inverter. So friends, I have done all the work and now it's time to check my inverter that it is making 220 volts or not. I am very much sure it is perfectly repaired now. So you just see a few moments ago I turned this inverter on and it makes a starting beep. Now I check the output voltages of this inverter. I first check the half part of the inverter where I should get 300 DC voltages. This is the half part of every inverter. Now I will set my multimeter to AC voltmeter range and insert the probes into the 220 volt output sockets of this inverter. There I should receive 220 volt AC. So guys, here we go. This inverter started giving 220 volt AC at its output socket. I successfully repaired my badly damaged inverter. Here one thing that is coming to your mind is that I am saying 220 volts on output but we are seeing 207 volts. Why it is not exactly 220 volts? So friends, this is because my battery which I connected with this inverter for repairing purposes is currently low. This inverter will give plus 220 volts on a fully charged battery. This inverter is perfect now. And it is perfectly repaired with no issues. So this is proof that these inverters can be repaired. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoy and learn something new from my video. Inverters are very complex and complicated devices. Friends, also like and subscribe this video. Because this is not even 1% of the information about inverters. In the future I will do more videos on different inverters. Thank you and stay safe.